Efternisli ordning me not to be a simp singuilos and truly intimating that a simp like me would end up with nothing. But I turned a deaf ear to all of it. I even agreed on the spot to that outrageous $880,000 bright price. Until my girlfriend Prince Charming returned to the country and flirted with her right in front of me. Only then did I become out that I pulled out my wish list and checked off a back sleep with a 36 BT. She would have finally found someone to check over the whole message after all I already got what I wanted. Это же sincere note. WHIU Taker I never planned to marry her anyway. Even if she asked for 88 миль на он блинк. Чип традина de my girlfriend's birthday party I was makfached чебиой for Prince Charming, Makota George W. All of those which the moment just selfish here is not a single post about you. Anyone who does no better would think she's single. I shot a miserable smile the kind that screams unrequited love. I said, maybe she just doesn't like me that much. I looked down cause as I did honestly Eva always known. After all for the past 4 years it's always been me giving her gifts and surprises. As for me having her might already be enough. The atmosphere's different. Illos best friend immediately complained to me George W. J. Would you say that about it? It's just how relationships work of course the one who should put in more effort. And it's not like we'll only take sweet or giving a while ago she even asked my boyfriend for advice about preparing you a birthday gift. Hearing that I almost saw and hold back a while after. Here are the ones who say men must take the initiative in love, and here are also the ones who say the one who takes the initiative has to give more. It's practically a perfect logical loop. It's just that this kind of moral judgment contains no facts and cannot be proven true or false. It merely expresses the speaker's likes and dislikes, a purely emotional appeal. I took it as a corner of my mouth and said really but my birthday was 2 days ago. She forgot. Illos их presión darkened. She said why are you bringing the subject I apologize afterward. Besides, isn't it normal for you to give me gifts if I don't get anything from you? What am I even dating you for if I don't like someone? I don't even want to spend each year's money. And about the which moment thing I told you already, I don't want people knowing about my private life. But the next second your best friend said, but I remember back in middle school you said to show your relationship with your boyfriend all the time on which the moments. Uilo blushed and muttered I was stupid and childish back then. People grow up. Makota chokerert is that so I thought growing up just meant love isn't as passionate as when we were younger. Their much comfort looked like playful bickering, but the underlying tension was practically glowing with flirtation. Funny how everyone at the table had been hiding HE from me all night. At this point, even if I were blind, I could see they had dated. A birthday party where her loving Karen boyfriend and her stealing ex shot after gate. Classic Willow. Makota glanced at me and said with a smile, George, as a man you should be more generous. Loving someone means always feeling you at them. Women only care about the attitude. When I give Willow gifts, I never fuss about gains or losses. This part I can confirm Makota really simply as harder than I ever did. Every holiday he sends Willow money gifts, new iPhones, luxury handbags, his personal paints just to award me. As if proving he can make Willow cheaper would make me back off. To but I honestly so careless about whether she's happy. I smiled, gonna toodly pulled up the post on my phone and shot Makota. I said, bro look. Willow actually did post a picture of us together. A lot of people at this table even liked IT. So she probably said that one to be invisible to you. You might be her backup option first party ATM. Makota froze. Willow became furious and snapped, George, can you stop already? I with a hint casually said he WY raising your voice everything I said is true. Chapter 2 once lied Willow so bad completely hopelessly upset. The first time I met her was when she brought her younger cousin to my physics tutoring class. Her way stunned me. How could a girl be that beautiful, delicate features, long eyelashes, every sort of expression filled with irresistible charm? It's not like we've never seen girls before. In our university class of 70 people there were actually 2 who were girls. The poor class beauty was overshadowed in front of her. I asked her cousin, "What's your sister's name? Send me her witched. And can you have her bring you again next time?" Her cousin tilted her head and said, "You're the third tutor to ask me that." I said she take such good care of you, she definitely become a great wife and a great mother in the future. Her cousin was speechless. That's how our relationship started, me persistently chasing and her outwardly accepting. To this day I still don't understand why she agreed to that to me. She clearly didn't like me that much. Maybe she was bored. Maybe she was impressed by my relentless pursuit. Maybe she didn't want to miss out on the physics tutor who finally helped her cousin pass the class. The day I kissed her I felt heaven had finally shown me mercy. I had finally become the overpowered protagonist I used to fantasize about as a kid. The day I slept with her, I swear I would donate 5 million to children in poverty once I got rich. Mom, the world really loves me. Chapter 3 my family didn't think highly of her, and even my friends Kuchuilo wasn't sincere with me. They told me not to be a simp. But I didn't care much. I already hit her physically, which I should I care whether she loved them sincerely or not, besides since I had already on horse having a bit emotionally felt natural. Otherwise, it even where is that life was treating me too well, and something worse would happen late. She never took photos with me, nor did she let me post 4 pictures online. When my body's here, I hit a girlfriend, and said they wanted to meet for Willow said she didn't want to. On Valentina's Day, my coworkers were all planning to leave work early. They asked me what I was doing that night. I said nothing much, just heading home early and playing some games. They were confused. Wait, what, you're not spending a tea with your girlfriend? Did you two fight? I didn't tell them I had been planning this Valentine's Day for a long time. I spent 4 years in college single as when having a girlfriend. I valued this Valentine's Day a lot. But when I prepared the gift, booked the restaurant and tested whether she was free that night, she said she already planned a camping trip with 4 girlfriends. All girls, no guys. I said Valentine's Day should be spent with your boyfriend. Sean that she immediately turned it back on me, accusing me of acting on my own, not respecting her, and booking a restaurant without asking for her opinion. I was speechless. I work far from my hometown and I often have to work over time. My mama always calls to ask whether I'm tired and whether I have enough money. But today she brought up how Willow had mentioned wanting $880,000 on us, a bride price plus a house in CTC and her name if we got married. My mom hesitated and said that yes, Willow really want a future with you. She did you that and I can help with the bride price and the house, but you need to think carefully first. But I cut her off. Think about what my mom said about you two getting married. I left. I said, who said you're getting married? And my mom looked completely baffled. I continued, I never planned to marry her anyway. Even if she wants $1 million, it has nothing to do with me. I said once I have enough money, I'm going to bear out. Even my girlfriend truly loved me, it actually feel burdened. It's as if that Willow doesn't like me that much. Make the breakup convenient. And my body always said to me, even never seen you this humble before. What kind of beauty is words as well? Willow is beautiful enough to be worth it. And not just beautiful, she has skill too. They say a night of passion is priceless. I don't need to spend a priceless, just paint a few pretty dreams and I get so shocking nights in return. Honestly, that's a great deal. After a few more tutoring sessions, Elo's younger cousin warned me, and my sister's first love is Makota. Is coming back to the country in September. You should watch out. I was a little surprised when I left. I said thanks for worrying about me. You didn't even want to give me her watch before and now you are helping me. She looked at me as if she hated how clueless I was. She said I just think your relationship looks painful. You checked your phone 18 times in one break and still didn't get a reply from my sister. You can explain physics so well, how come you can't figure it out? Women are but I'm not sure whether I was making excuses for myself or for Willow. I said, your sister so pretty it is normal for her to be a little cold. Her cousin protested indignantly. So what if she's pretty, you're not bad either. You graduated from T University, you radiate intelligence, and you make money on your own tutoring. He said, doesn't you know how much do you earn in a month? She continued, you and my sister, a perfect match, smart guy, beautiful girl. My parents and I all think you're a great to get right soon. Help laughing as I said, song you. You flatter me too much. Chapter 4. As a many совет for studying Kerberal grew closer to my Goyle lost a child Prince Charming's return, that it drew closer to. I knew this year-long fling of ours would eventually come to an end. And my thoughts drifted back as Willow said coldly, George, I don't know what's gotten into you lately. She continued, so after you finally got me, this is your attitude. Let me tell you, if you want to that it properly. If you don't, then we break up. Everyone thought I would back down and apologize since I was always the one coaxing her. But I had already saved enough money. I learned and I hit hard reaching and I was hours as I said. Willow, I fell in love with you the first moment I saw you. But we always known you don't like me that much. In your heart I can never compare to your first love. I said, I don't want to be in a relationship I can't do in anymore. Or do I said, let's break up. She froze. Then she suddenly lifted and said, fine. Don't regret it. I stood up and left in Lona Lini's leaving behind a defeated silhouette. Chapter 5. The atmosphere in the private room froze. Someone said, Willow, don't stay with your boyfriend. що се танхипели. Hosmer is the one who went too far. Makoto was just joking. They really need to be so aggressive someone try to interest, but Willow snapped angry, but Makoto asked round of course I don't feel as personality now as I did with my first love. WHY chant he handles the truth George being overly sensitive isn't my problem. Her best friend tried to comfort her George liked you so much before. Suddenly seeing your ex would make anyone uncomfortable. Willow rolled her eyes and said he should know his place. Do I like him that much he brought up breaking up? How dare he ace a teasfit smile appeared on Makoto's face. Someone else tried to persuade her George must be regretting Katie like crazy right now. I bet the moment he walked out of the restaurant he started thinking about how to beg for your forgiveness. He's just too embarrassed to say it. Willow give him a call. Give him a way out. Makoto suddenly said, what's wrong with you guys? I'm the one who's actually you over and here and him sitting right here. You're really going to take Georgie's side or did he ever do for you? The person next to him said Makoto here just having a topless fight. George and Willow are boyfriend and girlfriend. Which I'm thinking Willow to dump him and be with you instead. Had be messed up. Natter, great, exactly. Makoto was left speechless. Willow was also irritated. At some point her childhood friends had all started defending George. That man really knew how to play the long game, winning over her friends to speak well of him. Did he think that meant he could control her? She didn't like him that much. He should know that. Chapter 6 I went back to the rental apartment Willow and I shared and Cor was waiting for me at the door. Cor was a little more soft fair-bred and a bit of a pepper-pleasing personality. Back when Willow and I went hiking, the owner of a farmhouse told us their dog had given birth and said we could take a puppy if we wanted. I refused immediately. I didn't own a place in CTC and I was preparing to study abroad. How could I take care of a dog, but the puppy was so clingy. When we were leaving in the morning, A.T. grabbed onto us unwilling to let go. The owner asked, are you sure you don't want to take it? I was about to refuse her again when Willow said, I want to keep it. I asked her, are you sure? Are you prepared to take responsibility for it for its whole life? Willow let out a soft hum and said meaningfully, what about you? Are you planning to take responsibility? And my emotions were mixed as I said, I mean, since you said you want to keep it one day we break up, would you still be able to raise it on your own? She gave me a long look, didn't answer and simply carried the puppy into the car. I fed the call took it out for a walk. While I packed my luggage, it kept circling around my feet. I stroked its head reluctant and said, sorry little guy. I'm leaving. Have joking have. Heartless I said at the end of the day you're your mom's dog. Your mom and I were just a fleeting romance. You and I aren't even related. I tell you get it still as if all understanding circled me again and went to the living room to fetch a bowl and thanked me to play with it. I didn't have many belongings, one suitcase was enough. After packing I played with the dog until it got tired. I set up all the film left in a my Polaroid taking photos of it. Then I rubbed its head and said, call him leaving. You must always be a happy, healthy little dog. Chip the same I checked in the tailor did a cup of coffee and a penny in my old notebook. The first page was something I had written on my 28 bird, 100 wishes to accomplish before turning 31. Take part in a research project related to controlled nuclear fusion. 2. Do a PhD at MIT. 3. Buy my parents a big house back in our hometown. 4. Learn to surf. 5. Travel around the world. 6. Date an ultra super gorgeous beauty. 7. Think about IT later. Crossed out. 7. Save 1.5 million. Crossed out. 7. Save 2 million. I had ranged these goals by difficulty. The first one came through quickly. In my junior year, I ranked top 2 in my department and received a scholarship to Switzerland to join a summer research project in plasma physics. I even got a recommendation letter from a famous professor. That year I was full of ambition, everything felt under my control. I thought the second goal would follow soon after. But because of various twists and turns, I drifted further and further away from the research path I had set for myself. Ironically, the goal I once thought was least likely, the sixth one, was the first to come true. And the seventh goal, I did that later. After several revisions, now I only had 20 or 30,000 left before reaching 80. IT was time to get back on track. I sent a WhatsApp message to a former classmate who now teaches at MIT. Anya, can I talk to you about applying for the PhD program at MIT? Chapter 8. Anya was my classmate during undergrad. She was a competition gold medalist recommended all the way up and naturally went to MIT for her PG. Back then everyone said the two of us were like mirror versions of each other. I always thought I would follow the same path to be wise step. In senior year I talked with Anya about applying to MIT. She helped me a lot very warmly. We visited so many times that it even felt like we were drifting towards something ambiguous. But right before the results came out, I withdrew my application. She called me furious and demanded I heard you giant a tutoring agency to make quick money. She said, can you have some ambition? The golden period for doing research is short. George, do you even value your own talent? I vaguely felt she was right. The field I wanted to pursue was making breakthroughs every year at a 4 years and there might not be much left for me. But I didn't want to choose differently. After that we stopped contacting each other. And just like that 3 years passed. Anya happened to come back to the country during spring break and we arranged a Latinic meal. She pulled out a chair, sat her back at her side, sat down and immediately said to me, "If you always wanted to apologize, but I didn't know how to bring it up." She looked straight at me and said, "I didn't know what you were going through back then. I questioned your decisions and even snapped at you. She wore a blue knitted sweater and a white skirt, a student-like outfit business and so off. Again, her eyes were sincere. For a moment I remembered the first day we met in the lab. It felt as if the person here had been an illusion. I said back then my family got scammed out of a din. $5 million by telecom fraud. My mom said it was the money meant for my studies abroad. I told her I had a scholarship but she didn't believe me. She was around everywhere trying to exchange foreign currency and that's when she got targeted. During that time my parents were constantly spaced out replaying the scam over and over. If I went to get my PG on scholarship, that financial hole would always be there. Seeing term in that mental state was wearisome. And to me that money was their retirement savings. When IT disappeared I felt a hollow emptiness inside. I calculated IT. If I set the reputation of the university to tutor charging $8,000 per hour, the agency takes 400 and I get 600 for hours a day is 2400. I could earn it all back in less than 2 years. The job was easy, paid well, and wasn't illegal. Going back to school 2 years later didn't seem to, but I never told anyone this. Willow didn't know either. Anya spoke swiftly. So, now, you're without the all I grinned and nodded. Saving money happened faster than I expected. Within half a year of joining the agency, I gained some reputation and they increased my hourly rate. My salary became higher too. After checking inflation data, I started thinking that I didn't. $5 million felt a bit too little, might as well save $2 million. Once I reached $2 million, I would quit. A full night, ergo staring at the numbers in my bank account. Nearing $2 million, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief and satisfaction. Anya said, "That's incredible. Kind of like enduring hardship for future success. Holding IT in for so long and finally seeing IT reality was its own kind of release. Truthfully, it isn't that bad. During that time I chased down Willow and unlocked new life experiences. A woman I once only dared admire through photos ended up living under the same roof with me. Even the days spent preparing for the future were full of flavor. Chapter David, I quickly rented a new apartment and pulled out my study abroad application from 3 years ago to revise IT. Fortunately, I had kept up with the recent research progress in the field. Last year, I even took 2 months to join a university research project. My language course and degree were still valid. IT was just the personal statement that needed a major rewrite, and I had to reconnect with professors for recommendation letters. Anna offered to help me as well. During her break, she came to my place every day to review my materials. IT felt like going back to those eggshell days preparing for physics competitions. Back then, a few of us would gather at a familiar Slasmatis house, squeeze around one desk each doing our own problems and then discussing theorem afterward. We had similar talent and none of us were distracted. We didn't worry about money. We didn't worry about anything outside of physics. That was my comfort zone. During this time, Willow called me twice. I didn't really catch what you wanted. I only heard the dissatisfaction in her voice, accusations, complaints, and belittling spilling out like rapid fire. When I work, I enter a kind of low state emotions muted, so I said, "Ivy Ben. Busy lately. Whatever it is, let's talk in 2 weeks." Willow was furious and hung up immediately. Anya straan in a difficult parent, I shrugged. Ich gehe vriend. Tenal e duel techniekle e parentu. Hor kazeren takes to tauring lessons from me. Anidin das verter and to and back to helping me prepare for the interview. After a while, Willow sent me to photos and said, "Cor on it properly. If you don't come back, the dog is going to die." Anya caught a glimpse and test so you dumped her I shook him hit. She dumped me. Anya frowned, but she looks like she's panicking. Chapter 10 I still felt uneasy, so I told Anya we shouldn't earlier needed to check on Cove. Willow opened the door and Cove circled round my feet. It was nothing like the lighter's dog in the photos full of energy, lively and bouncy like a egg humpetlet. I picked Cove up and rubbed its head helplessly think, if you really don't want to take care of IT, keep IT. I thought worst case take a tear bear out with me. Renting a Dacrienla apartment isn't impossible. Suddenly she stood on tiptoe, hooked her arms round my neck and kissed me. The little dog let out a startled yelp and jumped down. What the hell do breakups come with after such service? Now didn't expect today to include a passionate scene. While I was still stunned, she pushed on my chest, forcing me down onto the sofa. The next second she straddled my lap and slipped out of her jacket. My rationality snapped back and I said, "Did you sleep with Makota? I don't want anything that's been contaminated." She glared at me furiously. I won't no way. Answer clearly. Only tended she having frustration and say nah. We didn't get angry and embarrassed, she beat my shout. Great. No risk perfect. I still didn't know why she was so but honestly after breaking up everything is just a bonus. After is going on in her mind. What does it have to do with me? Soon it was past midnight. I drifted off and woke again when the sky was bright. Sunlight slipped through the curtains, landing on her chest and thighs. I soon helped touching her, the sensation felt unreal. I was eating too well. Hold without that after breaking up it still be things as good if I posted this on TikTok and I get tens of thousands of likes from the guys the next second. Louis, do you admit you were wrong? I was speechless. I instantly felt a bit impotent. Last night she was crying and begging me not to stop. And today she's acting like she's the one in charge again. I admit before I always backed down because I was horny, so I kept giving in to her. But the breakup after Salice has ended. I still spoil her, I said slowly, "You're just friends with benefits." You didn't actually think I came back to reconcile, did you? Chapter 10 Sevilla was about to explode from anger. George said to love her like a madman, chasing her relentlessly, so how did things turn into her looking like the one who was blind below George was infuriating. Not long after getting her, he somehow infiltrated all her friend circles. Everyone kept saying how good he was to her, how much he treated her like a treasure, as if he was her only option. That night at her birthday party, she had a food drinks Horace red at the corners. Makota was interested to us and opposite so that naturally got in a tahi target. She sat in the back seat tipsy and leaning into Makota and Makota conveniently. Wrapped an arm round her, the faint scent of wood and grass lingering in the air. Makota said to take her to a hotel and was just about to tell the driver the address. Suddenly the passenger door opened and Maria got in. She wrote her a sentence 12W Ryu to leaning so close, planning to share once he built Makota what having taken advantage of Willow because his drunk move Rui Makota given out court smell and immediately shifted Rui from Willow. Willow shot Maria a glare. She wanted nothing more than to kick her out of the car. Maria pinned her map up and told the driver even mapped the best route. You drop Makota off first and me. Follow my directions. Willow protested. Maria, get out and call you on ride, but Maria's voice turned cold. Willow, don't forget you have a boyfriend. Then she turned to Makota. Makota, why don't you take a separate car, Willow, and I need to talk. Makota still had some sense of decency. When the car arrived at this place, he got out obediently. But Maria suddenly changed the route again, insisting she stay at the lost place for the night. Willow frowned. Are you insane? Who invited you, Maria Gafiore? What can you do about it? You look and said you want to cheat wine. But not right in front of me. My little brother is preparing for the physics competition. George answers every question he asks. I'm not letting you sabotage that. Behave. If my brother fails to get into a top university, it's all on you. Maria followed Willow all the way home. All of Georg's belongings were already gone. Willow froze in place. She thought, did he really need to have wrecked like this? Maria fanned the flames beside her. Well. He really dumped you. Guess I was waiting for nothing. I'm going home. Willow snorted. He dumped me. Be crawling back in a few days begging for forgiveness. Maria Escelers you sure has he ever threatened to break up before she continued but you use breakups as threats all the time. George isn't like that. Willow suddenly lost confidence. But so what if they broke up? She didn't like George that much and Willow kept telling herself that. She really didn't like George that much. He looked average, came from an average family and had no exciting hobbies. Not like Makoto, you a classic Tauri-chan type. One day watching animal migrations in Africa, the next day diving in the Maldives. HES social media was full of luxury cars and designer watches and he had thousands of followers. In high school, Makoto was the star of the entire school. Standing next to him, Willow could clearly feel how rich his status elevated hers. Only she deserved that to stand beside him. Other girls envied her. And George ordinary on camp, nothing special at all. But he knew exactly how to steer a man's emotions. When he needed her, he would hold her in his arms and tease her until she melted completely. He was so bold, so self-assured, not caring at all that she had only had experience recently and would turn weak the moment he touched her. She never told him that she didn't want him getting cocky. She didn't understand why a man who was so rich and so obviously horny could make her read the way she did. She always thought she would only fall for someone like Makoto. And towards George could flip the script instantly. He was the one on the lower end of the relationship, in theory yet with one single sentence. We've been busy lately. Whatever, it is let's talk in 2 weeks. He made her so angry she nearly hit a heart attack. He acted like she was the one who got dumped, like she was the one practically begging him to come back. Willow made up her mind when he came crawling back asking to reconcile. She would treat him well for a few days, then ruthlessly dump him. Only that would restore the balance of power between them. But what happened, George injected himself with her again and again and then had the nerve to say they were just friends with benefits, that he felt no responsibility toward her. Willow was furious on the verge of exploding. She felt like she had been completely set for free. Chapter 12 Willow threw the clothes and pants at me all at once, telling me to put them on quickly and get out. I looked at Core with some hesitation and said, "Are you sure you still want to keep it? Do you need me to take a tear before? You should practically scream shorting. This is a well that put me at easy." After a brief moment of leisure, am I live and back on track. The main application had already been submitted. If I passed the preliminary review, the department would arrange 2 interviews. Anna and I were both physics majors, but our research directions were very different. I studied controlled nuclear fusion while she worked in astrophysics. She helped me rehearse the interview several times, and she had already asked almost every cerebral question. She said anything deeper than this I won't understand. Before the formal interview, you can talk to people in your field about the latest developments. She was leaving for the US in a few days, and she had spent almost the entire vacation accompanying me. On the day we parted, I suddenly found myself tongue-tied and unable to fully express the gratitude in my heart. She caught me off with a smile and said, "Classmate Wang, with you telling you deserve the best platform at Royce IT would be such a waste. I really want to see you produce results." She gave me a gentle smile and said, "See you at MIT." Chapter 13 Fortunately, over the past 2 years I had never let go of my field. I had always kept up with such engaged developments and maintained contact with researchers in the area. I had also been constantly thinking about what I could contribute to this field. The interviews went very smoothly. A few days later I received the admission letter. The big "Congratulations" popped out in my inbox and my heart pounded. The surroundings suddenly became quiet. I sat there for a few minutes, then took a screenshot and sent it to Anya. She replied quickly. She said, "They decided to admit you 3 years ago." I happened to overheard Aaron cheating in the office back then, saying that the applicant they were optimistic about had withdrawn the application. I felt that it was such a pity. You're back on your original path again. Congratulations. I called my parents, messaged my brothers, and wrote emails to scholars in the same field whom I knew well. One night fell I burned paper offerings for my grandparents who had taught me math and physics since I was little but were born in the wrong year and never had the chance to reach their full potential. Fulfilling a wish felt so wonderful. I thought to share the news with everyone. Anya really understands me. I am finally able to return to the road I started on. Chapter 14 after that while applying for my visa I ripped up my work at the training center. Ilo's cousin still had to prepare lessons left. I told her that after finishing there I own be renewing the contract. She hesitated and asked each one, Ayokilo and Makoto were together now. They were very careful about it in a year's contrast to how Lokilo and I had been when we dated. If she had dumped me a year earlier, I would have been devastated. But now it was fine because I no longer had expectations and I had already enjoyed whatever there was to enjoy. I told her cousin, "I'm fine, don't worry." But not 2 days later, Willow came to our center during work hours. She flipped her hair and spakevi this day, no seeing this kind of tactic towards me to come here and you being childish, I frowned. Odd tactic, she said. Stopping him white since classes. I was speechless. It's not stopping. It's letting the contract end to it or renewal. Everything already paid for will still be completed. She scoffed lightly. You only renew if you get back together with me, Ira, but my brow. This has nothing to do with you. It's because of my own plans. She said, "Stop pretending." With a faint smirk, she said as if she had complete control over me. The director thought I was being troubled by a parent, so he knocked on the door, came in and explained, "The first of my bad teacher Wang is reasoning next month. We have several other physics teachers here. If you need your child can write their classes for free." "You're a reasoning?" Coelho asked. "Then what are you going to do afterwards?" The director realized when we chatted and quietly slipped back out. I couldn't help badly. So concerned about me, Geoffrey and her ways, instantly returned to cold interference. I imitated her earlier tone and said, "You only renew if that it is KTSK." She went back to pretending she didn't care, flipped her hair and walked out. That evening, Willow finally decided her cousin, "Did he tell you what he plans to do in the future?" Her cousin replied, Willow said, "Don't tell me you went to the center to look for teacher Wang." Her cousin answered, "I don't mind that he won't renew. You cheated on him, so it's normal that he doesn't want to teach me. But don't to say my name as an excuse to go find teacher Wang. I don't want to be associated with a scumbag like you and make him think I'm the same kind of person." Chapter 15. After finishing all of my classes at the center, I asked Maria's younger brother Marco to hang out. The way I got to know him was quite incredible. When we went on a picnic, Maria brought her brother along. That day the young man looked very rough. He climbed the mountain alone with his head down, not saying a single unnecessary word. In the middle of the trip, he needed to use the restroom, so the two of us went together. On our way back, we heard Willow on the phone with someone. Her tone was light and cheerful. "What do you mean? George is just a poor loser teaching at a tutoring center. You George and come back to the country. If you come back, you break up with him." The round suddenly became suffocating. I was actually okay with it having someone else take over us, not necessarily a bad thing. But before I could say anything, Marco marched straight over and slapped Willow across the face. He showed it in really bitch. Willow was so shocked that her phone fell to the ground. I was deeply stunned. "Hey, warrior." He didn't even know my name yet. And that's how we got close. He told me not to be a simp, and I shared with him my experience preparing for academic competitions. But honestly, he didn't need me to succeed. He was extremely gifted, unbelievably hardworking, and intensely focused. Someone like him could succeed at anything. After hearing that I had broken up with Willow, Marco would message me every 4 days, "George, don't be a simp. Okay, if it really doesn't work, I can introduce my sister to you." I told him I wasn't a simp, but he didn't believe me, and he would ask again a few days later. He lived there at a boarding school, so he told him come out to see me, nor could he immediately retaliate against Willow. But he persisted in leaving sarcastic comments under every one of Willow's social media posts with long strings of whom's the name is. Willow replied, "What's wrong with you? I'm best friends with your sister." Mark responded, "Bitch, every time I saw it, I secretly felt deleted." When Mark finally saw me, he rushed over like a rocket. "George, are you okay?" I pinned my mail and showed him the admission letter. He yelled, "Holy shit, it's a Matty stains. I'm a Methodist, a sparkled." He said, "Brats, your research. Direzione can I visit you in the future?" Chapter 16, a few days later. At Willow's grandmother's birthday banquet, Makota attended visits arm round to Willow. "Grandmaster Willow, it is a boyfriend of yours, W.H. And he come Mark leaned it over and said George is going to Matty for SPD. He already broke up with her." Grandma exclaimed. "Is that impressive?" Willow rolled her eyes and said, "Grandma, don't listen to him. George never prepared to go her out." Mark raised a brow and said, "That's only because you didn't know. He never included you in his future plans at all." For the entire evening, Willow seemed distracted. She was trying to figure out how much truth there was in Martha's words. George had never mentioned going her out. Besides, if you were going to bear out on, he have to prepare for language exams and the jury for classmates who plan to study overseas in college spent every day doing practice tests or memorizing vocabulary books. George had never prepared for any of that. He joked around every day doing a job that was extremely easy for him with no seemingly lofty ambitions. We lawyer assumed he would just take advantage of middle school parents for the rest of his life. But ten should out if were through the way his Soviet money would suddenly make sense. He made 60 to 70,000 a month, didn't buy property or invest in smoke or drink, had no bad habits except being a bit of a pervert, and only spent 2 or 3,000 a month. So he'd been building up to a big move. Or long we lot out. She had to go ask George and get a clear answer. If what Marcus said was true, and that meant George had said first contradict her extraordinary body contradict him, and also part of the he take her for beside her Makota est. Luckily, you're still thinking about George Willow snapped out of IT. Of course not. I'm just wondering whether Marka was lying to me. Chapter 17 Willow asked me out. She looked upset, staring at me as if I had committed some terrible crime. She bit her lip and said, Marka said you were going to MIT. Is it true? I answered, it is. She said, then didn't you ever tell me she fired out of your questions like bullets we were together for a year and you never mentioned it IT once. George, what did you take me for? She looked better at us how I wear the reals come back. But she was the one who set me to fill her empty time, while waiting for Makota to return. I had been grateful, never cheated, never treated her as a substitute. I just wanted to fight for a better future. She glared at me and said, you calculated everything perfectly, didn't you? You said you loved them, every one of your friends thought you were deeply devoted, but you had everything planned from the start. You just to set me as a transition. She continued, what did you take me for? You make so much money, how much of it did you ever spend on me? Did you just treat me as some kind of outlet? She was going too far. I defended myself, you all treated me as a transition. You waited for your true love to come back, and I waited to Savena to study her out. Neither of us was the author anything. She broke down and shouted, you've reloaded of me. People in the cafe turned to look. Someone even started recording. I quickly tried to confer, what do you mean reloading? I won't let you degrade yourself like that. I fell for you at first sight, you're important to me. After being with her, saving money didn't feel painful anymore. I was in a good mood every day. When I walked down the street with her, people looked at me with envy and my vanity was endlessly satisfied. Just then a furious male voice came from the side, shouting, you busted Howard, you steal my girl. I repeated, Makota, who taught you to speak so crudely, or where you just born with or mans? He had just joined a workplace that put great emphasis on personal conduct. If he wanted to argue or fight, I was more than happy to oblige. I wouldn't mind this whole scene spreading online. After all, there were plenty of details that would make him look bad, and the academic world didn't care about this stuff. As long as you didn't that you were advisor or you were student, any romantic drama was just the creation around your actual ability. I leaned into the sympathetic thing Willow behind me and said with the dramatic affection, I really do like Willow. Is it a crime to like someone if you really love her for you wouldn't have broken up with her after high school? Do you know how research was? I was the only one who cared about her. Makota roared George folk you he lunged at me, but I kicked him to the ground. He got back up, glared at me viciously, and turned to the people recording and slapped a phone out of Simeone's hand, shoving the surrounding crowd. I picked up the rosy from the vase on the table and handed it to Willow. I said, Willow, this is the last time I protect you. Goodbye, ich gehe over the end. Chapter 18, as expected, the video from the cafe went mildly viral online. Willow's voice was simply born for internet traffic. There were many people criticizing me, but also plenty who envied me. Someone posted, this guy is way too lucky. They did such a gorgeous beauty, and after the breakup he immediately got eternity. Even in my dreams I owned their dreams that big the best part. The beauty actually got emotionally shaken because of him. I bet $100 she still likes him. Others commented, this girl is insanely beautiful. The eyebrows, the legs, the flower skin, the care. Suddenly I understand WJ ancient all hours with the wars over women. A woman who looks like this is a woman should fight over my body wants to win baggage as cheating cakes. Honestly, people lose IQ after heartbreak. There were also people saying, What's wrong with you will lose some guy not romance. Girlfriend, why are you idolizing a loser? And someone replied, I'd love to swap my girlfriend for her. I was speechless. Soon school was about to start. Riding on this wave of attention, I painted a video account to document my study abroad life. Packing luggage recorded IT. Terrible airplane food took a pitch tour. Campus tour filmed an episode. When I moved into a more rented place, it was almost empty. Only 10 did I learn that rentals here didn't include furniture. The bed I ordered online had to be installed by myself. Well, but that was good content. I bought a drill and a ham set up on my phone and recorded the entire process of assembling my bed frame. That video их плодит. Apparently вышло видео ми строго клоемсали. My videos were all casually filmed and roughly edited, so they didn't take much time. But when the new semester began, my research project intensified. Every day I was either buried in the lab or in the office doing modeling or computational analysis, even eating while discussing work with my research group. Gradually my update slowed. From a daily vlogger I became a weekly one, then a monthly one. Recently I didn't even manage a monthly update. One day I logged in by and away familiar avatar in my DMS. The message read, "WH aren't you updating anymore? It was Willow." I think it's been 5 months since the last time we partied in that cafe. Chapter 19 a friend told Willow that George had opened a social media account, so she clicked in to take a look. As she watched, she criticized him in her mind. The most popular video was the one where he held a drill and made crooked house in wooden planks, ending up with a slightly wobbly bed. He placed the mattress on top, sat down, balanced a few times, and muttered to himself, "I hope this thing doesn't collapse." In the comments, many people praise him, bra, his amazing achievements and skills, and say, "No, how do you call that amazing? Just wait until the bed collapses, then and learn a lesson." In the next video, George bought a piece of red chicken from KFC and the word "IT hungry" finishing with a satisfied burp. Willow thought it really that exaggerated his food over there that scares, but on her way home from work she found her cell phone a strong impulse buying KFC fried chicken too. In a video he uploaded a few days ago, there was an event in H's department that gave out free burgers. He happily carried a paper tray to the line and able to hide the grin on his face as he said, "I don't have to pay for lunch today, have." A woman behind him said to wait for me one who was that woman why was she so close to him. George even helped her get ketchup. Did she not have hands? Willow was display asset. Every day she clicked into Georgie's homepage to check whether he was working hard. But suddenly he stopped updating. For more than 20 days in a row he didn't post a single new video, and Willow felt a surge of inexplicable anger. He was always like this, starting out passionately showering her with sweet words and gifts when he was pursuing her. To win her over, he told her all kinds of bizarre stories from the tutoring center, the boy who vowed with his parent in Georgie's office, the girl who fell in love with her homeroom teacher and threatened to die if transferred. Willow wasn't even a particularly gossipy person, yet she somehow really wanted to know what happened next in those stories. She planted emotional hooks in her, slowly drawing her in. But after he got her George wasn't as good to her anymore. He slacked on chores with daughter's gifts and didn't cook her properly when she was upset. He was a jerk business and so valued roll is burning hot for 3 minutes and then going cold. She wanted to fix him. She saw and let other people fall victim to him. In the comments some clueless people defended him. Maybe he's just really busy lately. Making vlogs isn't his main job anyway. Here is a physics PhD student. "Handsome guy, can you talk about your research next time? I'd love to hear it." A few days later, he obligingly updated his account. The footage was not polished at all. A messy bedroom behind him with a camera zoomed in on his face. He said, "Hello everyone, hello. Today I talk about MOI project. MOI felt is controlled nuclear fusion, which is basically clean energy based on the same process that powers the sun and other stars. You will hear of the hydrogen bomb, right? A hydrogen bomb is an atom-controlled fusion reaction. But what humans need is a stable continuous release of energy for electricity, heating, and so on. The goal of my research is to make the fusion process controllable." When he talked about his field, Georgie's eyebrows danced and he practically glowed from within. Willow had never seen him like this. He said he had been following this field since college. He believed in the future of controlled fusion because fusion had a chain reaction. If something went wrong, the reaction would extinguish itself, avoiding irreversible disasters. They had dated for over a year, yet George had never told her any of this. Willow realized that she had never truly known him. She was angry at his lack of openness, yet that very secrecy made him more intriguing. From tutoring to saving money to studying about every step he took was unexpected. If she ran the victim, she might already begun to admire this man. He was like an owner and only showing her the outermost layer. She wanted to peel him open layer by layer to see what was inside. Uilo suddenly realized she hit a bit of a mrsvistikstrik. Since the breakup she hit out of him far too often. Chapter 20 a month later George casually posted her na trap jade. He picked a few mint leaves from each book and crushed them with lemon slice and made a simple cold drink. When they were together George often made this for himself too. Uilo never thought that he tasted anything special. But today on a strong impulse she went to the supermarket to buy mint and lemons. When Makoto came home from work the mint lemon water in her hand was already almost gone. He stared at the cup stand. Uilo tilted her head and said, "Do you want some? I can make you a glass." But Makoto suddenly exploded in anger. With one swipe, he knocked the cup to the floor and shouted, "You never fucking shine, is already gone to America and you're still degrading yourself over him." These words were disgusting. Uilo vows down her temper and argued this has nothing to do with George. "I just wanted flavor to water." Makoto roared, unable to contain himself. "Don't tell me the fried chicken you bought had nothing to do with him, or you secretly looking up mid-subside. I checked your phone, you even misguided him. Stop pretending, you stupid bitch." It is shorting Uilo a headache. And on it ended she realized Makoto wasn't the same as the boy in her memory. The current him's pake. Crudely hit no hobbies and no ambition. Unlike George who seemed to shine all over when he talked about his field. Even though she resented George for not being honest with her, she had to admit he was doing something meaningful. Ichi's life was full, vibrant, and exciting. Uilo found herself blaming Makoto. He had become this mediocre and repulsive did she come back for her, though he tended her unsupportably beautiful memory of her first love. She even began to doubt her younger self's taste in men. Chapter 21 один tripled Uilo's message in a moyen book, and she never sent another. I figured she had just out of me out of boredom. Just like I would occasionally remember those days when my emotions were said to be sweet by her. After starting MYPG, I met a few women as well. Some relationships lasted longer, some shorter, but rarely did anyone share my emotions anymore. Whenever my work or chairs got busy, naturally ended things no one got hurt. At this university, everyone poured themselves into their work. Dating ranked too in life priorities. Half a year passed like this until one day a colleague who came to the lab and called out, "George, she is a very beautiful Chinese woman looking for you." I put down what I was doing and walked out. Uilo was standing at the door, beautiful being description, yet looking slightly uneasy. She said, "Hi, I'm traveling with my best friend, and we just happened to pass by your area." She wore an elegant mermaid dress, arms folded lightly, her brows and is glowing with charm. People walking by turned to look. Relievers who stood behind her with their mouths get wide open, making a "So what's going on between you two?" kind of face at me. I said to assume there was a difference between Eastern and Western beauty standards, but Uilo dissolved the difference instantly. Some people are just born cheese and viable. I glanced at the time and told her, "И be done with work in 35 minutes. Why don't you walk around nearby? I treat you to lunch." She nodded to nech predstedla obedient. I chose an Indian restaurant. Horsing the fingers toward into the nana, she looked at me and said, "I didn't know you liked this." There was a place near where we said to like their chicken curry was really good, but I had not desire to reminiscence. On the way to the restaurant, my gaze kept drifting toward her. Her movements were more her body full and care with the tail dress outlining every contour. I found myself wanting to touch her. She had shown up at the Moai door after all. After a few bites of rice, I hinted tactfully, "I've reason this afternoon to get a checkup. I can't book a doctor for your results come out the same day." She didn't understand. After I explained, she frowned and said, "I'm not that kind of casual woman." I said sincerely, "I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I apologize." But when I finished work in the afternoon, Uilo was waiting at the building entrance. With an erneut expression, she tossed a test at me and said, "4 years off." Everything was negative across the board. I felt reassured, and with my lips pressed to hide a smile, I asked, "So, shall we go back and order out chapter 22?" She followed me home looking a little humiliated. I pinched her cheek and touched her tail almost like petting a cat. A sensual woman really can give a man a lot of strength. She was somewhat reserved, and I said, "Don't move. You're already here as wrong with letting me touch you 5 minutes later. Things were getting out of control." Her emotions were overflowing. When she was in the heat of the moment, it felt as though she loved me deeply. Just what I had missed her during the past half year. SWHY I never replied to her message. As to it I felt proud dumping her right after getting a PG over. as to what the women who appeared in my vlogs were to me. At first I answered honestly, but later I lost my patience. If I lied, to obviously she got upset. So I simply worked her until she passed out. When she woke from her nap, I was hungry. I asked Willow, what do you want for takeout? One hand was scrolling on my phone, the other wandering over her upper body. She said indignantly, you already treating me like takeout. No need to put a tea so crude, she insisted we go out to eat and chase a slightly yichpingsy restaurant. One of those ambience явы процесс state potions reached tasty good for couples on a date. After dinner she picked up the rosy from the wash on the table and walked out with a tea. The waiter chased after her and she waved her hand impatiently, saying, the gentleman behind me will pay. I lost $200 for no reason. No idea what she was looking about. On the way back she smelled the flower as we walked down the midnight street. Then she said with certainty, you don't like me as much as before. You didn't like me that much even back when we were together. At first when I got close to other men you would be hurt. Later you seemed eager to push me away. How should I put it? I was sure but not enough to allure to my future. I still had my own path to walk. Both you and I had strong desires for control. We wanted the other to surrender and we wanted to stay in charge of our own lives. As casual bed partners, we were perfectly matched. Other people here ain't as powerful, not as exciting, not as good at playing the part. But in other respects, you and I simply here ain't compatible. Chapter 23. Willow and I maintained this kind of relationship. Every few days she would come over to my place. When Marka came to the US to visit, she happened to be there too. Marka looked at me incredulously and said, George, seriously, you're going down the same road again? My weakness and my inability to resist beautiful women was something I saw in control. After a few days together, Marka said to me, fine, whatever. As long as you like IT. Anyway, I can tell you don't really take her that seriously. That night Willow sat on my lap and said, even a kid can see IT. You only think about your research. You a fool, you a consumable material for science. I turned and kissed her, saying, that's not true. She started pestering me to let her appear in my vlog. She said you clearly showed up in your videos, that family classmate of yours showed up too. I was impatient and eager to go to the main event, already burning with heat, so I agreed with her thinking. When I woke up, I saw she had posted a photo on her moments of me eating a burger outside the lab. Last week was Free Burger Day and I took her with me. She complained about how her butt IT tasted, but she didn't eat any less because of IT. My homepage comment section was a battlefield. Some people quoting, food and sex are human nature. Some digging up the old video with Makota and launching a wave of criticism. Let them say what they wanted. She had traveled thousands of miles to see me. I was willing to indulge her. Chapter 24. At the idea of 30 IRTS-controlled nuclear fusion project finally achieved a breakthrough. The technology was commercialized and the cost of electricity dropped to just a fraction of other fuels. Everyone on the team achieved financial freedom. I look back at the wishes I made on my 20th birthday. 1. Take part in a research project related to controlled nuclear fusion. 2. Do a PhD at MIT. 3. Buy my parents a big house back in our hometown. 4. Learn to surf. 5. Travel around the world. 6. Date an ultra super gorgeous beauty. 7. Think about IT later, crossed out. 7. Save 1.5 million, crossed out. 7. Save 2 million. Everything came true except surfing. Surfing was too hard, I had given up on that. A few years later, I returned to China to teach at a university. At the same time, I founded a charity fund to support children from impoverished regions in Karampolitan High School and University. I wanted to help more kids realize their potential and live a life with substance. As for my love life, I had a few mutually beneficial relationships with several beautiful women and Willow, and I broke up and got back together multiple times. People online all noticed that I was a lax-fish kind of guy. Most netizens said they understood. My mom seeing me remain unmarried advised me, there is no need to find such a beautiful girlfriend. What matters is that she's a good person. And I thought, no matter. It's very important. Women need something good to keep us motivated to work hard. I've always thought that